The forbidden stream people in my village feared the stream more than death itself, not because the water was deep, but because it remembered. The elders spoke about it in whispers around the fire at night. Children were warned never to go near it after sunset. Women carrying water avoided even saying its name aloud. They said the stream belonged to an ancient spirit, a spirit older than the village, older than the forest, older than memory itself, and anyone sent there with wickedness in their heart never returned the same. My stepmother knew all of this, and she sent me there anyway. My name is Adanna. And this is the story of how the woman who tried to destroy me ended up destroying herself instead. I was 14 when my father married Enkechi, 14 years old, still grieving my mother. Still waking up some nights hoping I would hear her voice outside my door again. But death is cruel. It teaches children too early that some people leave and never come back. My mother, Ijoma, died from fever when I was 9. 3 days, that was all it took. 3 days to turn my world into silence, but even after she died, people still spoke about her constantly. She was kind, she was beautiful, she had strength, and every single time someone looked at me, they said the same thing. Adanna looks exactly like her mother. Same eyes, same smile, same stubborn spirit. At first, I didn't understand why Enkechi hated hearing those words. Then I grew older, and I realized something dangerous about jealous people. They cannot fight ghosts, so they punish the people who remind them of those ghosts instead. The cruelty started slowly. Small things at first, extra chores, cold stares, food served after everyone else had eaten. But over time, the hatred grew teeth. I woke before sunrise every day to pound yam until my arms shook from exhaustion. I swept the compound until dust filled my lungs. I washed clothes in freezing water while Enkechi sat under the shade eating kola nut and watching me suffer. And if I complained, she slapped me so hard my ears rang. "Useless girl," she would hiss. "Your mother spoiled you." My father tried to protect me. I know he did, but grief had weakened him, and Enkechi knew exactly how to control him. She shouted louder, cried harder, manipulated better. Until eventually my father stopped arguing, stopped noticing, stopped seeing. That was the worst part, not the beatings, not the hunger, the loneliness, the feeling of disappearing inside your own home. Years passed like that, quiet suffering. Silent tears, endless work. Then the dry season came and everything changed. The rain disappeared for months, the ground cracked open from thirst, crops died beneath the burning sun. The village well dried until all that remained was mud and insects. People became desperate. Women walked for hours searching for water. Children cried through the night from thirst, but when others saw suffering, Enkechi saw opportunity. One evening she called my father outside while I was washing plates. "There is still one place with water," she said calmly. The moment those words left her mouth, my stomach tightened, because I already knew the place she meant. "The forbidden stream." My father stood immediately. "No," he said sharply, "absolutely not." Even saying the name felt dangerous. The elders believed the stream was guarded by a spirit woman tied to the ancestors themselves. They said the water judged human hearts. People who approached with greed vanished. People who approached with evil lost their minds. Nobody had fetched water there in over 20 years, but Enkechi laughed. "A grown girl is afraid of water?" she mocked. "If she is truly Ijoma's daughter, let her prove it." My father refused again, but Enkechi kept pushing, mocking him, shaming him, calling him weak. Then she looked directly at me and smiled, not kindly, cruelly. "Go tomorrow morning," she said, "and if you return empty-handed, do not return at all." That night I could not sleep. I sat beside the window listening to crickets sing in the darkness while fear crawled through my chest. I held the small wooden comb my mother gave me before she died. It was the only thing I had left of her. I pressed it against my heart and whispered softly into the night, "Mama, if you can hear me, please don't let me die." At dawn, Enkechi shoved a cracked calabash into my hands. No food, no blessing, no mercy, only cold eyes. The walk to the stream felt endless. The deeper I entered the forest, the quieter the world became. Birds stopped singing, wind stopped moving. Even the trees felt alive somehow, bending toward me like silent witnesses. And then I saw it, the forbidden stream. The water was black, not dirty black, not muddy black, black like midnight, black like something with no bottom. But beneath the darkness, something glowed. Silver light moved under the surface slowly, almost like breathing. Fear nearly sent me running, but I remembered Enkechi's face. I remembered the hunger, the insults, the years of pain, so I stepped closer. Hands shaking violently, I lowered the calabash toward the water. The moment it touched the surface, the stream rose, not splashing. Rising, water lifted into the air in a perfect circle, glowing brighter and brighter until the entire forest shimmered silver. Then I heard the voice, not through my ears. Inside me, deep in my bones, "Daughter of Ijoma," it said. "Why do you come carrying sorrow?" I froze. My body refused to move, but somehow the words poured out of me anyway. I told the stream everything about the beatings. The loneliness, the nights I cried myself to sleep. I told it how invisible I felt, how unloved, how tired, and the stream listened. The water glowed brighter with every word until suddenly a figure began rising from its depths. A woman. Tall, powerful, beautiful beyond explanation. Her skin shimmered like moonlight on dark water. Her hair flowed around her like river currents, and her eyes carried ancient sadness. She looked at me the way mothers look at children they cannot bear to lose, then she spoke. Your mother stood here once. My breath caught instantly. The spirit stepped closer. She came before your birth, she continued softly. She asked the water for strength. She said if her daughter ever came here alone, the stream must remember her. Tears exploded from my eyes because for years I thought I had been forgotten. But my mother had loved me before I even entered this world, loved me enough to prepare protection for me years before her death. The spirit reached into the glowing water and removed a white calabash covered in ancient markings. This vessel will never run dry, she said. As long as your heart stays pure, it will provide water to the thirsty. Then she handed me a small white stone warm as sunlight. This reveals truth, she whispered. No lie can survive in its presence. Then her face became serious. Listen carefully, child. Pain can turn victims into monsters. Do not become the same darkness that hurt you. I nodded through tears. The spirit touched my forehead gently, and suddenly the forest returned. Birds sang again. Wind moved again. The stream looked ordinary once more, but the gifts remained in my hands. I ran home before sunrise. And when Enkechi saw me standing at the gate alive, fear entered her face for the first time. Real fear, because evil people become terrified the moment their cruelty fails. She stared at the glowing calabash in horror. What did you bring back? She whispered. I ignored her. I walked into the compound and began filling every container with water. Bucket after bucket, pot after pot. The calabash never emptied. Soon neighbors gathered around in shock. People touched the water carefully like it was sacred. By afternoon, the entire village had heard, and that was when Enkechi made her final mistake. She lied in front of everyone. She accused me of witchcraft, of poisoning my father, of making deals with evil spirits. Some people believed her, because loud lies often sound convincing. But truth does not fear noise. I quietly removed the white stone from my wrapper. At first, nothing happened. Then the stone began to glow. Softly, then brighter, then painfully bright, and suddenly images appeared in the air above the crowd. Everyone saw everything. Enkechi poisoning my food, Enkechi stealing my father's money, Enkechi meeting secretly with a native doctor in the forest begging him to remove the girl forever. The entire village gasped. My father collapsed to his knees crying, and for the first time in years, Enkechi looked small, not powerful. Not terrifying, just exposed. Truth had stripped her bare. She tried to run, but nobody stopped me when I spoke. Enough, one word, that was all it took. The elders banished her before sunset. No food, no honor, no sympathy. The same cruelty she gave me finally returned to her, and as she disappeared into the forest alone, I realized something important. Revenge did not heal me, justice did. The years after that became softer, not perfect, but peaceful. My father changed. He apologized with tears more than words, and slowly we became family again. People traveled from distant villages for water from the endless calabash. I never charged them, because kindness grows when it is shared. And every night before sleeping, I stand beneath the moon and whisper the same words. Thank you for remembering me, because sometimes, the place people send you to die becomes the place you finally discover who you are. My stepmother thought she was sending me toward destruction, but she was unknowingly leading me toward destiny. And maybe that is true for some of you listening right now. Maybe life has pushed you toward your own forbidden stream. Maybe you feel abandoned, forgotten, unloved. Go anyway, walk through the fear anyway, because sometimes the darkest path leads to the place where heaven finally answers your name. Karma may move slowly, but it never forgets an address. And love, real love, never dies.